smooth misdirection, at least to my ears. But when I listen to the song, it sounds like a pretty simple song. So I have to applaud them for this. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Lone University. Let It Burn is from Bad Religion's 11th studio album, The New America, released in the year 2000. And after all this time of exploring punk rock, if you were to ask me at this point what my top 5 favorite punk rock bands are, Bad Religion is most definitely one of those 5. But even after reviewing 2 of their albums in full over on Patreon, which actually I'd posted the Process of Belief one here on the channel. I'm going to link that in the comment below if you want to walk through that one with me, but again, after hearing 2 of their albums, I still feel like I've barely scratched the surface with this band because their discography is simply massive. I mean, they rival freaking Rush. This band has 17 albums. Rush have 19. And you know what? Rush started 12, 13 years before this band, so I'm going to say Bad Religion have released more in the same amount of time. But I digress. I've barely scratched the surface with this band, and I've heard that this album, The New America, well, I've learned from some of your comments, it's pretty polarizing within the band's fan base. Some of you guys hate it. Some of you guys just don't like it. It was a big departure for the band, and I hear the Process of Belief was a big figurative sigh of relief with the return of Brett Gurewitz to the band's lineup. So I'm curious to hear how this song compares to all the others I've heard, and I hear it has a pretty interesting bass performance from bassist Jay Bentley. So without further ado, here is Let It Burn from Bad Religion. Whoa. First observation, the mix is great. I love these types of guitar tones. I was just talking about a similar guitar tone in the Offspring video I did last month. But let me just talk about the bass line here. It's pretty bold to be inverting chords like that right out of the gate. It's kind of a 4-chord cycle here, going between D major, which is interesting because D major's natural major third is an F sharp, and the very next chord is F natural. So there's already some chromaticism. I'm not going to call it atonal, but there's some accidentals. So we have, so yeah, you have this, and then the very next chord is, so there's that half step sort of discrepancy there. The way it colors the progression is nice, but damn, the bass line just came right in and went up to play the 3rd in D major. I heard the 5th. But if you strip away its context within those 4 chords, it was this cool little bass melody that was kind of like, that. Let me hear that again, right when the drums come in here. Interesting thing to do just in the first 30 seconds of the song. And I like how the first repeat of the chord progression, he's playing the actual root. And you hear this little slide. It's almost like a little signal like, hey, I'm about to get a little adventurous with this bass line here. And that he does. Okay, I talk about inversions all the time. If you want to hear what they sound like, this is it. You just hear how the chord progression sounds a little... dissonant's not the word. It just sounds a little... it's like notes are just clustered together. It's a really specific sound. I call it upside down chord progression because it technically, if we're talking about note ranges, you are putting something upside down. But just listen to the bass line in context with the chords. One more time at the beginning so you can hear him actually play the actual root note. Then he changes it up and he's inverting the chords, but it's kind of disguised as a little bass melody. Really cool. Okay, normal. A little slide. Inverted. Really cool sound. Okay. I love their vocals. Like the clouds open up. I've heard a healthy dose of their choral abilities as a band. It's amazing. Just two things I'd never would have thought to hear together: punk rock and choir vocals. But I'm constantly been proven wrong here. It's epic every time I hear it. As the beat picks up here in verse 1, I think Jay is simplifying back to playing the actual roots, but he's kind of alluding to that melody a bit. There's some slight inversions happening there, but the bass just isn't sitting still. It's kind of jumping everywhere, weaving in and out of the chords, and it keeps providing the tension that inverted sound has. If I were to demonstrate for you real quick, it's basically this. If this is a D major chord, 1, 3, 5, if I just take that third and put it as the lowest note, now I have third, 1, 5. So it's still a D major. It just has this sound. If I do the second version, that means taking the fifth, so 1, 3, 5. I put that down an octave, so it's now the lowest note. It's still a D major chord technically, but it has this sound. The fifth in the bass. So if you compare all three back to back, you have regular, you have first inversion, you have second inversion. So just by him going up and playing some of those other notes in the scale, he's effectively inverting the chords. And I'm going to go back to when that verse kicks in. You can hear him just kind of weaving around and creating that type of sound in context with the chord progression. Chord progression is kind of sped up. A few different chords thrown in, I think. Go back again. Okay. Little bit right there. Same thing there. An interesting way to glue it all together. It's not mixed super prominently, but it's there. You just hear it moving. I just like the flavor it adds to the song here. Moments of your yesterdays are in the wake behind you. Can't assess the future if you're living in the past. And it's whoa, it seems like such a long way to go. As obstacles get bigger, prepare the winds blow stronger, and the fire continues to grow. The fire continues to grow. Their chord progression cadence still kind of has that old hymnal thing. I talked about this, I think I heard it in their song Sorrow, but I feel like this is the 10th time I've made this remark hearing some of their music. If you read the transcription of a hymnal, typically the chords change really in sequence with the words. It's almost like they're in unison. You have a lot of chord changes, but it's just kind of following the melody. It almost feels like the chords are changing every count in a way. And they're not doing that here per se, but the way they resolve and kind of bounce around and interact with the vocal melody, it just gives off that vibe to me. I think that's a really special thing about their music. It's just very melodic. Really melodic. Let me just play this part again. Right there. Very hymnal-like. Just the kind of way, I don't know, it just has this bounciness to it. I don't know. I love that about this band. One of my favorite things about them so far. The fire continues to grow. Keep it stuck. If you are committed to a life of understanding, then there's no agenda for vengeance in your life. Sharpen all your senses, face the opposition. Cool pan there. Overcome with fortitude and mental like these guitar parts subdividing, everybody's going down to that 16th note grid, 1 E to 2 E. You have the snare doing all 16ths, on the left channel, the guitar's doing and then the right channel's doing something kind of opposing the other two. It's kind of this head-spinning rhythmic subdivision thing. Cool thing to throw in here in the bridge.
And all your senses face the opposition. You can overcome with fortitude and mental might.
Okay.
It seems like such a long way to go. As obstacles get bigger, the fatal winds push on your and the fire continues to go.
It's like a hymn.
The fire continues to go. The fire continues to go in your soul. So people, let it go.
I heard the B flat. Where did that come from? Let me hear that again.
Push on your and the fire continues to go. The fire continues to go. The fire continues to go in your soul. So people, let it.
Yeah, all the chords being thrown out here in the song, there's not a ton. It's a lot of F major, C major, D major, G major. And the one outlier, if one of these things is not like the other, I'm going to say it's the D major. I think this is actually just in the key of C major, but it doesn't go back to C as the home base very often, if ever, because that hymnal type of chord movement where the chords are just kind of changing a lot with the melody, you kind of lose where home base is because it lands on F major a lot. It lands on D major a lot. And that F and F sharp next to each other in the same sentence just kind of throw you off. But if it's in C major, that would make a lot of sense because C major, F major, and G major are all within the key of C. It's 1, 4, 5. The D major is the outlier, as I said, and that F sharp. In C major, the 2 chord is D minor, but they're making it major, which can sort of suggest that D major is a secondary dominant. It would be 5 of 5 if we're being technical, because it would be D major. It would be 5 of the 5th chord in C. I know I'm getting way in the weeds here on this, but it's really clever stuff. That B flat makes sense now too if we're in the key of C major because they're borrowing it from C minor. The natural 7 chord in C minor is B flat major. It's called modal interchange. But then when you put that chord, you dip into C minor for just a second with that one chord, you go back to F major, it almost presents like it's in the key of F major. So it is some really cool, just smooth misdirection, at least to my ears. But when I listen to the song, it sounds like a pretty simple song. So I have to applaud them for this. This really threw me off. I still could be wrong, but the more I think about it, I think I'm right on that. These are so fun to do. Bad Religion always throw me some cool curveballs. Let's go back to here and let's ride this out. Kind of feels F major, but it's not. And it ends on the outlier chord. So I don't want to be biased based on the cool music theory, chord progression stuff happening that I think I'm right on. I think I am. But to me, that sounds like classic Bad Religion. Am I even allowed to make such a statement? I don't think I'm allowed to say classic Bad Religion. I don't even know what that is. What I meant to say is that it sounds like all the Bad Religion songs and all the things about their songwriting that I've come to love. That song fit right in. At face value, it sounds pretty simple, but the more you listen, there's some really smart stuff going on under the hood. I like this kind of misdirection with the tonality of the song, but it was really kind of hidden in plain sight. And then you strip all this nerdy stuff away and you just have great melodies, great vocals, and an unusually forward performance from bassist Jay Bentley again, just kind of weaving around, playing the thirds and the fifths of chords, really adding to the sort of confusion about what key the song's in. And I don't want to reduce this entire song to just the cool key stuff, but I love that about the band. You hear the song at face value and it's like, okay. And the more you look and the more you listen, it's like, okay, there's some weird stuff happening. One of my favorite things about this band. So Let It Burn, Bad Religion, the New America album. Let me know what you think of the album. And if you want to support this channel further, please come find us over on Patreon. Again, I've also done Generator over there. Once again, The Process of Belief is linked here in the first comment below. I've pinned it if you want to go check that one out with me. One of my favorite full album reactions I've done. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please do that now. I love you all. We'll see you in the next one.